Our understanding of both the creation of the universe and its eventual destruction in Norse cosmology is heavily based upon a poem called Voluspa. This poem encompasses the words of an undead seeress who was awakened by the god Odin and asked a series of questions about the beginning and end of the world. The seeress plays a narrative role in this poem and can recall both the creation of the world and the coming of Ragnarok. Voluspa begins by explaining the creation of Yggdrasil, the great ash tree that houses the 9 worlds in which all creatures live. This great tree is the mythic landscape of the Norse cosmos, and the different worlds are spread throughout its roots and branches. Midgard, the world of humans, is located directly in the center of Yggdrasil, surrounded by a barrier of rock made out of the first giant's eyelashes. Additionally, the sun and moon are created, along with time itself. The first human beings, Ask and Embla, are brought to life via 2 logs that Odin and his brothers Vili and Ve discovered while walking along a sandy beach. Ask, the first male human, was created out of the log of an ash tree, and Embla, the first female human, was created out of the log of an elm. Upon being created, Ask and Embla are without human features. They lack breath, soul, hair, and voices, causing them to appear totally inhuman. So Odin gave them breath, Vili gave them their souls, and Ve gave them hair and human faces. The Norns who live beneath Yggdrasil and determine man's fate are first introduced. They are mythical women of destiny who decide the lifespan of every human child. In this forthcoming section of Voluspa, right around stanza 27, we reach the present, when the seeress asks if Odin has learned enough from her. She begins to describe the initial signs of Ragnarok, beginning with the death of Odin's son Baldur. Loki, the god who coordinated Baldur's death, is brought to a cave and bound by the organs of his slain son. A serpent is hung above his head, and its acidic venom slowly drips down upon his forehead. His wife Sigyn stays with him and attempts to catch each drop of the venom in a bowl. The signs of Ragnarok continue to progress, and the coming of the Great Winter marks the official dawn of the end times. 3 winters run into one another, and there is no summer. Mankind then falls into civil war, friendships are violated, and adultery is widespread. In Asgard, the god Heimdall blows his mighty horn to warn the gods of the approaching army of giants. Ragnarok is now in full effect. Odin seeks wisdom by consulting the severed head of the wisest being Mimir. Loki's monstrous child Fenrir the wolf breaks free from the chains that once bound him, and the fire giant Surt advances toward Asgard, bearing a flaming sword. Now a series of individual duels begin, and the gods face off against their mortal enemies. Odin goes to fight Fenrir, and the fertility god Frey attacks the fire giant Surt. Odin is killed by Fenrir, but his son Vithar avenges his father's death, plunging his sword into the wolf's heart. Thor defeats the Midgard serpent, but while fighting it is sprayed with poisonous venom. After taking 9 steps backward, Thor falls dead. Darkness falls upon creation, and Midgard sinks into the sea. Yggdrasil catches fire, and the universe is destroyed. But after total destruction, the world experiences a time of rebirth. The remaining gods gather in their old meeting place of Ithaval, and signs of life begin to reappear. Baldur rises from the dead, and the seeress can see a dragon flying over the valley. She disappears, marking the end of Voluspa and her prophecy. The poem of Voluspa is found in the Poetic Edda, a collection of Old Norse poems that tell of the Norse gods and their human heroes. If you would be interested in learning more about the Poetic Edda, I encourage you to consider checking out a new book titled The Poetic Edda, A Study Guide. This new book breaks down the Old Norse poems stanza by stanza, providing many insights along the way. A great introduction for someone new to Norse myth, and a noble companion to those already familiar. You can find this book on Amazon.com and via the link in the description below. I hope you will check out the Poetic Edda, A Study Guide, and stay tuned for another video in the Norse Myths and Sagas series.